Привit, I'm Chuck Olenek, a Ukrainian-American baptized with the name Yaroslav. That's also the name I use in the historical reenactment group, the Society for Creative Anachronism, where I'm called Yaroslav the Persistent. And today, it's the Autumnal Equinox, and I realized I needed to actually talk about the subject. So, here we are. In the previous video, I talked about the Dozhinki, as the Ukrainians and Poles call it. It's a harvest festival celebrated around the autumnal equinox. But there's something else that's celebrated at that time. That would be the Rozhanitsy, the fates. In a lot of European religions and mythologies, there's three female figures foretelling the child's future. Romans, Greeks, the Norse had the Norns. In Baltic lands, you'd hear about the Laima, who sometimes appeared in three forms. Albanians spoke of Ora. And Old Russian sources also mention Rozhanitsa as a single person, usually in the pair of Rod, the creator god, and Rozhanitsa. And there's a similar process taking place amongst a few other groups where there are references to Dolya as a fate goddess. But most just say there are three. Rozhanitsy, Nareknitsy, and Suzhdanitsy are invisible spirits or deities of fate in the pre-Christian religion of the Slavs. They're related to pregnancy, motherhood, marriage, and female ancestors, although Southern Slavs will sometimes differentiate and say that the Suzhdanitsy have a different function than the Rozhanitsy. They will often be referenced together with Rod, the creator of the world. They are usually mentioned as three together, but sometimes up to 9 together, of whom one was a queen or singular. They are related to Dola or Dolya, another figure associated with fate, but it's not known on what terms. At times, depending upon your source, they were worshipped as the Zorya, or the Auroras, but in that form they're more associated with the sun god Dazhbog, where they also served as protectors of warriors. The Rozhanitsy were said to live at the end of the world in the Palace of the Sun, which also kind of connects them to Dazhbog. So maybe there's a fate connection. In the folklore of the Southern Slavs, Rozhanitsy are described as beautiful girls or maybe good-natured elderly women. Sometimes they are also represented as three women of different ages, a girl, an adult woman, and an elderly woman. Southern Slavs describe them as beautiful figures with white round cheeks and said to be dressed in white clothes and to have silver and gold jewelry. In their hands they were said to hold burning candles through which their silhouettes were easily visible in the moonlight. They were said to look after pregnant women, and after giving birth to a child, they determined his fate for the rest of his life. There's a Slavic proverb that says that everything that happens is written. The Rozhanitsy appear at midnight 3 days after the birth of the child, at the child's cradle, and they were supposed to foretell the child's good or bad fate for life. They could foretell the child's future, usually with words, "Let it be," which sounds like the Ukrainian toast budmo. Happy, rich, beautiful, cursed to die from drowning, and so on. After determining the fate of the child, it was saved as an indelible mark on the forehead. Hopefully it's not a symbol like this. By the way, there's references to the myths you're going to find in other cultures of one of the fate goddesses spins the thread and one measures it and one cuts it, and if it's longer, that person's going to live a longer life. But this could be the result of writers who looked at Slavic mythology and it wasn't as conveniently organized as other belief systems, and so maybe they tried to Greek it up, Roman it up. Another aside, Procopius. He was a 6th century writer, worked for the Byzantines. As a matter of fact, he was General Belisarius's personal secretary. He wrote The Secret History. And he wrote a lot about the Slavs that he knew of, and said that the Slavs didn't believe in fate. But there are so many references to fate goddesses amongst the different Slavic cultures, you have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. The Rozhanitsy not only watched over the birth of children, but of animals too, as well as ensuring the fertility of the land. Paying homage to the Rozhanitsy was essentially a private, domestic thing. According to some sources, a trapezoidal table with bread, honey, cheese, and kutia, sometimes mead, bread, and salt, were prepared in honor of the Rozhanitsy. Sometimes the meal was left at shrines, usually on boulders next to caves where the Rozhanitsy were said to live. The haircut during a child's first haircut, postrizhny, was dedicated to the Rozhanitsy and to Rod. Rod and the Rozhanitsy were then given a meal and the cut hair. There was also a celebration of the Rozhanitsy in late December. Gee, guess which faith took that over? So there's our second of the 2 autumnal equinox videos. I really didn't expect I was going to be working on this today. But hey, maybe it was fate. Until the next time, do pobачення.